and welcome to another booktube video from me, Lauren, from Lauren and the Books. What did I say about probably not doing any more TBRs in January? Well, here I am in March with a TBR, only because March is my most bestest reading month of the year. I love March. I love March because I spend the first half of the month doing the Irish Readathon, of which I'm about to show you the books I plan to read for that, and then the second half of the month, well, actually, it's going to be early on in the month, well, as I can get them, the Women's Prize for Fiction long list comes out, I believe it to be on the 4th of March. So March in general is normally shared between reading Irish books and reading books from the Women's Prize long list, and if those two shall meet, then that's the perfect, what's the word I'm thinking of? Correlation? No.
Partnership.
Partnership. What's it when you get like a circle and a circle and then it goes like that?
Oh,
Venn diagram.
Venn diagram.
Is that Venn diagram? I've said it, but I don't know if I'm super
sure
confident
about it.
Diagram. Get on that, David, whilst I talk about the Irish Readathon. So the Irish Readathon is something that I take part in every single year. It's been going for 7 years this year, which is amazing. I've got a feeling I've participated in it every year. It's certainly the only readathon that I actually make any effort to participate in, so well done me. And it's run by Aoife and Leanne. I'll link both of their channels down below. I'll probably link their TBRs actually, so you can get an idea of books that you may well want to read for the Irish Readathon. So they set a set of prompts throughout the month of March where you can read books by Irish authors, including a group read. The group read this year is The Rachel Incident by Caroline O'Donoghue, which I read last year as an audiobook, and it was fantastic, one of my favourite books of the year, so highly recommend reading that. I won't be reading that because I only read it last year, but yeah, highly recommend it, and the audiobook itself was particularly good. There is another book by Caroline O'Donoghue in this pile though, which is very, very good. So, should we go? David, can we have a confirmation on Venn diagram?
Shit. Hold on.
What you been doing? Playing Candy Crush? Yeah. No! Venn diagram, research comes first. Candy Crush comes second.
Yes, it is a Venn diagram.
Yes, it is a Venn diagram. Thank you. Right, okay, so let's go. So the first prompt is one of the books, in order to participate, you just have to have a book that's got green on the cover. So well done, everyone. So that doesn't even have to be an Irish book. It's just a prompt that they have every year, whereby they just say, if you read a book with green on the cover, you are participating. So this year, the book with green on the cover is a Northern Irish book of that I'm going to be reading. So this is Factory Girls by Michelle Gallen. Michelle Gallen also wrote Big Girl Small Town, which I listened to the Radio 4 adaptation. What are you doing, Debbie? The Radio 4 book of the week, where they read it out like a sort of, what's it called? Edited version. I can't think of what the words I'm saying. Edited version of it. I don't mean edited. When they sort of like give you an adapted version. What is the word I'm looking for? So first of all, couldn't get Venn diagram, now this. I just think I need a big sleep. Yeah, but this is, and I quite enjoyed Big Girl Small Town, so Factory Girl sounds very exciting. It's the summer of 1994, and all Maeve Murray wants to do is pass her exams and make some money so she can escape her shitty wee town in Northern Ireland. With her best friends Caroline and Aoife, Maeve bags herself a job at the local shirt factory. It's set to be the summer of their lives, but first she's got to iron 800 shirts a day to keep her job, dodge the attentions of her slimy English boss, and survive a tit-for-tat paramilitary campaign that's as brutal as her relationship with her man. As tensions rise between the Catholic and Protestant workforce, and Maeve counts down the weeks to results day, she notices things aren't adding up at the factory, and it seems like revealing the truth may just be her ticket out of town. I think it sounds really good, so that's exciting. The next one is to read an Irish children's book, or a YA book. Now, I bought this book to read last year in the Irish Readathon, and I didn't end up reading it, but it's one that I really like. I mean, it's still important to this day, and I should have read it before now, so must read this month. And it's You Don't Know What War Is by Yevka Skalietska. So this is the diary of, you can see, the diary of a young girl from Ukraine. She now is living in Ireland and attending Irish school, and yeah, it's sort of a children's diary of that journey from Ukraine. On Thursday the 24th of February 2022, 12-year-old Yeva Skalietska is woken by the sound of explosions. Though there have been rumblings and rumours, few truly believe that war will break out between Russia and Ukraine, and yet it has. What follows are 12 days that will change Yeva's life forever. At first, Yeva and her granny rushed to take shelter from the missile attacks in a dusty, crowded basement. But when the situation around them worsens, they know they need to find somewhere safer to stay. This will mean they have to make some very hard decisions which which will mean leaving everything they know and love behind. Throughout it all, Yeva kept this diary, partly to document what was happening around her and partly to give herself something to focus on as bombs rained down on her beloved home. So there we go. Next up is, as I said, the Irish Readathon has been running for 7 years. And one of the prompts is to read a book that has something to do with the number 7. So you could pick a book that's got the number 7 on it. You could, maybe it's got 7 on the cover. Maybe it was published in 2007, 2017, all sorts of things. But I'm going to be revisiting a book that I've read, and I'm going to be revisiting Again Rachel by Marian Keyes. By the way, I've just found out that Marian Keyes has got another book out this year, and I'm so excited because I feel like I've been waiting for that new Marian Keyes book. It's out in April, otherwise it would be being read this month. Yeah, so Rachel, Again Rachel is the 7th book in the Walsh family series. So Marian has written this whole entire series of books, which starts with, I think it might be Watermelon. I haven't read all of them, but I've read Rachel's Holiday and loved it. And then last year or the year before, it wasn't last year, it's been a couple of years since Marian Keyes wrote a book, she brought out Again Rachel, which is 20 years on from Rachel's Holiday. So Rachel's Holiday is about a woman living in New York, and her sort of like dating and all of this sort of like fun and frivolity that's going on, but underneath it all there's some serious things that maybe she's got some addictions that she's not aware of herself or isn't facing up to. And then Again Rachel is her sort of revisiting those addictions and her relationships that she's made since then and relationships that have carried on since that time, and etc, etc. So yeah, it's the 7th in the Walsh family series, so I will be re-listening to that, and it's narrated by Marian Keyes, and I'm really excited for it, and I'm really excited for Marian Keyes' new book, so hurrah hurrah. And then the next up is that you read an Irish book from your favourite genre. Now, I never really feel like I've got much of a favourite genre. Sure, I like historical fiction, I like literary fiction, I like a thriller when I'm in the mood for it, and I like some really specific non-fiction. But I've gone for sort of like women's fiction come literary fiction and picked Promising Young Woman by Caroline O'Donoghue. I said there'd be another book by Caroline O'Donoghue. It says, Jane is an adrift 20-something by day and a world-weary agony aunt by night. Then at an office party she takes on another role, the other woman. As Jane's affair with her married and much older boss takes off, she discovers that sex and power go hand in hand, and that it's hard to keep your head when you're someone else's dirty little secret. And soon her friendships, her sanity and her life are put into jeopardy. So yeah, very much enjoyed. There's comparisons here to Bridget Jones's Diary, so I'm always there for that. So loved Rachel, the Rachel incident so much, so I'm really holding out hope for this as well. Then the last prompt is that I think they did like, they asked people to submit words that they would associate with Ireland, and they took some of those and gave you 9 prompts, and they've got to be 9 cover prompts, so 9 things that are on the cover of a book. So the prompts are animal, food, house, books, people, trees, transport, fantasy element and stars. So I don't know if they're to do with Ireland, but anyway, they're the prompts that they've got. So I've picked 4 books that match these, that are Irish authors, and then I've got 4 more books which are just Irish authors that I want to read this month. So the first one is, I picked animals, and I've got Dara McNulty, Diary of a Young Naturalist, and this has got a bird on the front. I bought it second hand. I'm so pleased I managed to get it, because I was keen to read it last year and I didn't get it in time, and then I think I bought it in like April afterwards. I found it in the Oxfam bookshop, and yeah, I've been looking forward to reading this. This is about Dara McNulty. Evocative, raw and lyrical, this startling debut explores the natural world through Dara McNulty's eyes. An autistic teenager coping with the uprooting of his home, school and his mental health while pursuing his life as a conservationist and environmental activist. Shifting from intense darkness to light, recalling his sensory encounters in the wild with blackbirds, whooper swans, red kites, hen harriers, frogs, dandelions, Irish hares and more, McNulty reveals worlds we have neglected to see in a stunning work of nature writing that's a future classic. Sounds great, doesn't it? And it's set into seasonal chapters, so I love that so much. The next one I've got is food. I've taken this. So I looked at all, I had literally a massive stack of Irish books. Not one of them had food on the front, although maybe, well, anyway, I've chosen this as food because look, there is the top of a champagne bottle and a glass. So there must be some sort of food in there. And this is After a Dance by Bridget O'Connor. This is selected stories. Bridget O'Connor was working in a London canteen when her story Harp won the Time Out Short Story Prize. That was in 1991, but Bridget died in 2010, and this is a collection of her short stories. She was also Oscar nominated for the Best Adapted Screenplay for her adaptation of Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy, which she wrote with her husband, Peter Strahan. So, yeah, and also Harp is in here. It's the last story, so, yeah, we'll dip in and out as it goes. And then I've got The Queen of Dirt Island by Donal Ryan, and I've had this because of trees. You can see these are branches, surely. And this is in Nana, blah. Oh, somebody's corrected me of this, and I'm not saying Nana right. In Nana, no. County Tipperary, 4 generations of the Aylward women, I always think of Matthew Aylward, live and love. The head of the family, Nana, that's a Nana, is a woman who has buried 2 sons and whose life has been the family farm. Her daughter-in-law Eileen is estranged from her own parents, having shamed them and given birth to Saoirse. And then there's Saoirse herself, eavesdropping on things she cannot comprehend. It's only when they must battle for the inheritance of Dirt Island, a narrow strip of land adjacent to Eileen's childhood home, that they truly understand the roots that bind their lives together. I've heard wonderful things about this, so yeah, I think maybe I will prioritise this, I think. And then the last one is People, and I've picked Frog Music by Emma Donoghue. Oh, actually, this hasn't even got any people on the front. I thought this was someone in a cloak holding a pair of boots. Oh, just goes to show how much you can sort of take from. So yeah, well, there we go. I picked that for people. I mean, people wear boots. Anything else they could fit? Fantasy element, boots in fantasy, stars. No stars on there. Transport, boots. You need boots to walk. We don't always, but house. No, books. This is a book. But yeah, so I picked this one as well. But yeah, so I have a very love-hate relationship. That love-hate feels extreme, but like I either really love Emma Donoghue's books or completely unbothered by them. And more recently, I've just given up on the one that she wrote about Anne Lister. I listened to about 3 hours of it and I was just like, no, I'm not getting on with this. So this is set in San Francisco in 1876, a time and a period of which I've never read before, so exciting. A stifling heatwave and smallpox epidemics have engulfed the city. Deep in the streets of Chinatown live 3 former stars of the Parisian circus, Blanche, now an exotic dancer at the House of Mirrors, her lover Arthur and his companion Ernest. When an eccentric outsider joins their little circle, secrets unravel, changing everything and leaving one of them dead. Inspired by a true unsolved crime, Frog Music is a dark and compelling story of intrigue and murder. So that's that. Then I've got 4 books that I just would like to read because they're by Irish authors. Oh no, well first of all, so I also stuck to the Irish author theme for Patreon Book Club, and the theme was Irish. Oh, I've just realised I've got another one there as well. 2 seconds, I'm getting this one as well. The theme that I picked for Patreon was Irish crime thriller or thriller, and the 2 choices were In the Woods by Tana French, which I believe has now been made into a BBC drama, and Calla by Colin Walsh. Calla one, I would like to read this. It's a series, the Dublin Murder series, and yeah, you follow Detective Rob Ryan and his partner Cassie Maddox following up something that happened 20 years ago, as there's been another murder of a child. But Ryan is keeping a secret of his own. He's changed his name, no one knows about his past, and now with only threads of memory to guide him, he has to unravel not only the mystery before him, but also the one hidden in the shadows of his mind. If that's still on the telly, if that's still on iPlayer, maybe David and I will watch that, because we're looking for something to watch. But the book that did win is Colour, and I'm very excited about this. This is set in the seaside town of Kinloch on Ireland's west coast. 3 old friends are thrown together for the first time in years. They, Helen, Joe and Mush, were part of an original group of 6 inseparable teenagers in the summer of 2003, with motherless, reckless Carla Lannan as the group's white-hot centre. Soon after that summer's peak, Carla disappeared without a trace. Now it's 15 years later. Helen has reluctantly returned to Ireland for her father's wedding. Joe is a world-famous musician newly back in town, and Mush has never left, too scared to venture beyond the counter of his mother's cafe. But human remains have been discovered in the woods. 2 more girls have gone missing, and as past and present begin to collide, the estranged friends are forced to confront their own complicity in the events that led to Carla's disappearance, and to try to stop Kinloch's violent patterns repeating themselves once again. Against the background of a town suffocated by its own secrets, in a story that builds on from smoulder to a stunning climax, Carla brilliantly examines the sometimes brutal cost of belonging, as well as the battle in the human heart between vengeance and forgiveness, despair and redemption. Bloody hell, it sounds well good, doesn't it? So I'm very much looking forward to reading that. Then, I mean, I've stuck this up. This has been on the Irish Readathon TBR for the past 2 years, I'm sure. It's Sally Rooney's latest release, which I still haven't read, which came out in September 2021. It's Beautiful World, Where Are You? Can't believe how much I loved Normal People and how much I've reread Normal People so many times, both in print and listened to the audiobook of it. Absolutely love it. And yet didn't really get on with Conversations with Friends, read that once, and still haven't gone to this. I mean, I haven't heard as much about this as I have Normal People, but yeah, I can't believe how much I love that, and I still haven't even given this a go, but maybe, maybe this year. And then I've got 2 books that have been sent to me this year, and I've got Cacophony of Bone by Kerry Nee Dockerton. I'm sure there's an Irish pronunciation of that. And this is a non-fiction book, a memoir about Kerry and her partner Em moving to a small remote railway cottage in the heart of Ireland 2 days after the winter solstice in 2019. They were looking for a home, somewhere to stay put. What followed was a year of many changes. The pandemic arrived and their isolated home became a place of enforced isolation. It was to be a year unlike any we had seen before, but the seasons still turned, the swallows came with their allotted time, the rhythms of the natural world went on unchecked. For Kerry, there was to be one more change, a longed for but unhoped for change. Cacophony of Bone maps the circle of a year, a journey from one place to another, field notes of a life, from one winter to the next. It's a telling of a changed life in a changed world, and it's about all that does not change, all that simply keeps on, living and breathing, nesting and dying in spite of it all. When the pandemic came, time seemed to shapeshift. So this is also a book about time. It is too a book about home and what that can mean. Fragmentary in subject and form, fluid of language, this is an ode to a year, a place and a love that changed a life. It sounds bloody brilliant. Yeah. And some of it's written in sort of like diary form, some of it's written a bit more sort of experimentally. Sounds great. And then the last one is The Amendments. This isn't even out yet. This is out in April 2024, and this is by Niamh Mulvey. I've also got a short story collection by Niamh Mulvey called Heart and Bones, which came out in June 2022. This is about Nell and her partner Adrienne are about to have a baby. For Adrienne, it's the start of a new life. For Nell, it's the reason the two of them are sitting in a therapist's office, because she can't go into this without dealing with the truth that she has been a mother before, and now she can hardly bring herself to speak to her own mother, let alone return home to Ireland. But to Ireland is where she must go, to the heat of her teenage years in the early 2000s, as Ireland unpicks itself from its faith, to 1983 when her mother Dolores grapples with the tensions of a women's right movement, and finally to the farm and suburbs and towns that made and unmade the lives at the centre of this tale, bound together by the terrible secret Nell still cannot face. Delving into the lives of 3 women in a changing Ireland, The Amendments is an extraordinary novel about love and freedom, belonging and rebellion, and how our past is a vital presence which sits alongside us. So there we go. So I mean, I feel like I've got some great picks there. Like I said, I feel like I might be prioritising this. Obviously, we'll definitely get Carla read by the end of the month. I'll read that towards the end of the month. But yeah, also very keen to read You Don't Know What War Is and Promising Young Women. Yeah. Really excited, really excited. So let me know if you are taking part in the Irish Readathon. Let me know if you're excited for the Women's Prize long list. I will be doing a live show when the Women's Prize long list goes live. So we don't know when that is yet, but what I've done in the past is sometimes it's been at 6 o'clock in the evening, and in which case I just go live at that, like just before that time, and we sort of react together and learn about the books together. Sometimes it goes live in the morning, and then I spend the whole day avoiding it and then do a live show in the evening. But there'll be more details over on my Instagram when I get them. But there will be a reaction video to the long list. No predictions this year, maybe. No, I don't think I'll do a predictions video. Maybe I'll just do a predictions post on Instagram. Just head on over to Instagram, Lauren and the Books. And yeah, I'll see you all again soon for another BookTube video. Goodbye!